Hello everyone, this is Gary with your cards of the day, and once again I'm recording this video in the evening because I was waiting today in the hopes that a particular deck which I put on order would arrive, and lo and behold it has. So I'm incorporating this deck into our reading this evening as a meditation on the day's events. And as I did last evening, this is kind of a look back at the events of today. So the decks that we have are the Witch's Tarot. We have also the Psychic Tarot Oracle. And we have two cards from this new deck, and the new deck is the Osho Zen Tarot. Now, all three of these decks are intuitive decks. They are decks that move away from the what you might call traditional meanings and traditional images that you see in a lot of tarot decks, and they don't even really correspond to the kinds of images that you get in the Thoth decks and the Aleister Crowley style decks as well, and you'll see that as we go through. We have two cards from the Osho Zen because we had a jumper card, which is here. But what I'm going to do, unusually, and I feel drawn to do this, is I'm going to look at the jumper card last. So let me look at what the other cards do first. Our first card is the Two of Wands. Now, as you can see, this is quite an unusual image. Just to kind of go through, what we have here is kind of, it looks a little bit to me like a sandstorm. It's sort of a flow of that kind of hot air energy. Now, interestingly, in this deck, the elemental associations are reversed, and swords are seen as being fire, and wands are seen as being air. But this could quite easily be seen as a flow of fire energy around the spell worker, which is what I feel this individual in the card actually is. This could quite easily be seen as fire energy around him, but it is worth noting that in this deck, this is the suit of air. And what we really get with this card is a feeling of the flow today, the flow of energy, the flow of action. Really kind of, I'm almost in my mind's eye thinking of sort of a baker kneading bread. It's that kind of moving things around and really manipulating things in a very real sense to make things happen the way we want them today. So I do feel very much that there is an inference of us making the day happen the way we want, and really being at the center of everything, and everything flowing around us. Now, just to kind of relate this a little bit to its more conventional companion card, the Two of Wands usually depicts an individual stood with two wands standing in the ground ahead of him. And what you have from this is this feeling of he has a choice to make. Twos, to my mind, tend to be a little bit about choices. Either the choice of partnership, or the choice of direction to travel, or some kind of intellectual choice, or the sort of choice that you get on the physical level, the kind of balancing act that you get, weighing up options. And we have a little bit of that polarity here, because he's holding these objects which look very much like wands to me. I think that's the whole point. They're intended to be sort of, in a sense, magical wands. So really, he also has a choice in how he uses this energy that is around him. And I feel very strongly that that is relevant today. That it's about what we choose to do with the energies around us. And that will become clearer as the reading progresses. Now, our second card today is the card of balance. How ironic that is. This also has the number 2 at the top of the card. So this again is following that intuition of balancing things out, making a choice, making a decision as to how we progress today, how we move forward, how we choose to act. Also, it's worth bearing in mind that this deck, which is sort of loosely based on the tarot system but with a few alterations, is very much certainly in the major arcana, it does follow pretty much the standard procedure. This card is equivalent to the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is a card of intuition and knowing, and this makes me feel very strongly that what we're dealing with is the need to use our intuition, to use our inner higher mind to really make that decision that we have to make. Do we go one way or do we go the other? Do we act in one way or do we act in a different way? And really intuiting that today and feeling it, very much feeling it. Now, our third card for the day perhaps gives us a little nudge one way or the other here. This is the 5 of water, or cups. Very much so in the Osho Zen deck, the traditional symbology of wands, swords, cups and pentacles disappears. It really isn't there in this deck, but the elements still are. So on a psychic level, you can kind of connect the dots together a little bit. What we've got here in this card is a person whom we can't even really see them. They're behind this huge cluttered box of things, really. Things that they've accumulated. We've also got behind them here indicated the moon. And we have what look like stars coming down either side. And the tagline at the bottom is very interesting. It says, clinging to the past. So what this to me is saying is we're holding on to stuff. We're really holding on to things that we should perhaps let go of, or at least consider letting go of. This is roughly equivalent to the 5 of Cups, which is very much a card of emotional loss or emotional release and letting go of things. And there is very much that indication here. But as I say, there's also the moon in this card. So that to me is a symbol of intuition, and it's a case of knowing what to let go of and what to hold on to. And also the cycles of things, the lunar cycles, I'm very much reminded of as well, in the sense of everything has its time, everything has its season, and once that season is done, you let it go. Now, our final card for today is the major card 20, which is normally the card of judgment, and in this instance here what we have is the tagline beyond illusion. Now this is a card that I find very interesting. There's so much in this, it would take an entire video just to go through the imagery in this card. But what we have is a face shown here in the center, wearing a kind of crown, it looks like to me, that covers the third eye, or ajna chakra. We have this energy coming into the top into the crown chakra itself here. So we have this kind of divine input, if you like, divine guidance. The actual, if you like, projector screen onto which this face is being shown is these beautiful butterfly wings. And butterflies are a symbol of transformation. If you think about the caterpillar going into its chrysalis, having a period of dormancy and period of hibernation and transformation, and then breaking out into this gorgeous butterfly with its colourful wings, we have that transformation image here. And all around this card we have spiritual energy, we have light energy. And the feeling here is very much of an epiphany, very much of a aha moment, and suddenly thinking, oh, well, it's like that. So this really connects with some of the things going on in the other cards. So if you take a look, it's very interesting how these work today. We have the doer who has his choices to make, has his decisions to make of how he uses the energies around him and how he reacts, and more accurately, how he proacts with the energies around him. We have the card of intuition, showing us the balance, showing us again that how we act is important and how we choose to act is important today. We have the card of clinging on to the past, of, in a sense, refusing to let certain things go, but having to be prepared to allow certain things to be released when their cycle and their time is done. And we have the card of beyond illusion, which is the realization moment that shows us what it genuinely is that we should be letting go of and what we should be holding on to, and really gives us that clarity that perhaps we've been looking for a while. So I hope you've enjoyed these cards of the day and this slightly different look at a reading. Also, I hope you've enjoyed the specific decks that I've used, in particular this wonderful new deck that I have, the Osho Zen, which I'm certain will be popping up in future readings quite a lot. I could quite easily see this becoming a very major deck for me, really, one that I use an awful lot, so it may actually pop up quite a few times. As always, please feel free to leave me your comments and your own insights, and perhaps you saw something in the cards that you would like to relate to me for today. That would be very interesting as well. And let me know how your day went. How did it manifest these kinds of energies of choice and of change and of cycles and of realizations? That will be interesting too. I want to wish everyone a wonderful rest of your day. Blessings, love, light, namaste, and frith.